100 Halo questions nobody knows the answers to. Here on this channel, we've done a ton of research in some of the biggest Halo mysteries of all time, and we love looking into different avenues, trying to find what the answers to some of these biggest mysteries are. But with the Halo universe so filled to the brim with different stories, characters, and worlds to explore, surely there's more and more mysteries and questions out there than we have answers to. So we thought we would pick the top 100 questions that are still unanswered and bring them to the forefront of the conversation. Note, we actually slid in a couple extra ones just in case one of these actually does have an answer or gets answered. So we definitely have 100 questions here. Okay, ready, set, go. Throughout all the Halo games that have had multiplayer as a canon focus in the Halo universe in one way or another, it's always kind of alluded to the fact that Spartans can choose their own armor permutations. For instance, this was really prominent in Halo Reach, but also in Halo Infinite, it looks like the Spartan customization is kind of a main canon focus. So that does leave us with the question, why is Master Chief's armor green? Or even further, why does Master Chief choose the armor permutations that he has? Is there a specific reason why he chooses to be a green Spartan with a gold visor? It's assumed some Spartans choose their armor permutations for the reasons of things like utility, so what is Master Chief's reasons? How did the Oni developed bubble shield come to be standard equipment carried around by the Covenant brutes? Also, if ODSTs aren't Spartans, how can they still jump over cars? Like, they straight up just leap over them. What's the deal with this specific ship in one of the terminals from Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary? Which species does it belong to? That also begs the question in the Halo Reach epilogue, is this ship actually a human ship or something else? Before Marty O'Donnell sadly deleted his Twitter account, he had at one point alluded to the fact that the elite language in Halo Reach had some sort of system to it that could possibly lead it to be translatable. A lot of the details on this are still shrouded in mystery, but how exactly does the Covenant language end up working in Reach, and is this something that some linguist out there can maybe crack the code on at some point? Also, during the events of Halo 1 through 3, where was June during all of this? We know at the end of Halo Reach, he was escorting Halsey away, and then in the books and stuff, he's nowhere around Halsey during that time, just to show up again around Halo 4's time. I think some of us are just wondering what he's been up to. In Halo 3 ODST on the streets of New Mombasa, appearing on several different surfaces, there are these strange symbols that appear to be glyphs. Though there's a ton of fan theories out there, there hasn't been any concrete answer if there is a straight up translation for these glyphs. So the glyphs, what do they mean? In the extended lore within the books, Mickey from Alpha 9 is of course arrested for betraying his team, but later is allowed to fight alongside his team again, which does beg the question, what sentence is Mickey actually serving for his crimes? And how is this going to play out into the future? Is he just kind of absolved of his crimes now that he's helping out again? Or does he have to go back to jail when he's like in between stuff? Just kind of curious how that all works out. To this day, we still don't know what Halo ring the Halo Reach multiplayer level Tempest takes place on. While there are visual similarities to some of the Halo rings that we've seen in game, this specific Halo ring does have a few standout features, making it unique. So which Halo ring is this ring actually? Also, what's the deal with those Spartan clones that are mentioned in the description for the Halo Combat Evolved map, Chiron TL34? Also, why is it that the Pillar of Autumn is set up to explode if a reactor fails? Obviously, in the game it made sense for the narrative, but what's the in-universe reason? It just seems like it's a little bit fragile if a few grenades can cause this whole thing to explode. I mean, I get they're activating the self-destruct sequence and they use that as a failsafe, but wouldn't it just be easier to have a bomb or something else? Is it pronounced mongoose or mongeese? Which one is lore accurate? Also, while this is alluded in multiple different lines of dialogue, how much flood is there actually? We know that they could exist way beyond the scope of a single galaxy, but how far does this actually reach? How did the section of the Forward onto Dawn with the Arbiter make its way back to Earth? Like, who flew it through the portal? Was the Arbiter able to fly a half-broken ship and kind of navigate his way into the Earth's atmosphere? Were the Halo rings or other Forerunner structures built specifically to emulate Earth's atmosphere? Or are there multiple atmospheres existing throughout the universe that are a lot like Earth? And if so, why was the ring built to emulate Earth's atmosphere? Was it because humans were going to be the Reclaimers? Is there some something buried under Sandtrap? Also, what do these glyphs that show up on Sandtrap and other levels like Epitaph actually mean? In I Love Bees, we do hear a little bit about a second wave of Spartan 2s that ended up getting canceled in the process. We know the team was much smaller and there was a high failure rate during augmentation, but did any of those survive, and if so, what did they end up doing and where are they now? Also, these signs show up all over the place in Halo 3 ODST, yet no one's been able to crack the code, if there is a code, regarding what these J signs mean. During the production of Halo Combat Evolved, it's clear that the level 2 betrayals may have been a placeholder name for something that would have happened story-wise, but we never actually see 2 betrayals happen in the game. What was the design choice in keeping the name of the campaign level 2 betrayals when it does in fact only feature one single betrayal? At the beginning of Halo 3 ODST, Dare goes missing. We later find her 6 hours later in the same underground section where the rookie is. What on earth was Dare doing for those 6 hours otherwise? Also, how did she get out of her pod and then close the door behind her and then scurry off in the few moments between Buck actually hearing her say that she was spotted to the time he gets to her? Is there being multiple Sergeant Johnsons, or maybe a Sergeant Johnson, as members of Bungie have joked over the course of the years, actually canon when it comes to Combat Evolved? We know that there's the argument that the Sergeant Johnson in the post-credit scene isn't actually the real Sergeant Johnson, but also another one that's often overlooked is that on Assault on the Control Room, Johnson requests help when he's in the canyon, though we, right after this level, go to the level Guilty Spark, where we have a cutscene from hours earlier that shows Johnson was over at the other Forerunner facility during this whole time period. So he's kind of in 2 places at one time, which is kind of impossible. So, are there 2 different Johnsons just kind of existing throughout there? Is Sergeant Johnson canon? In Halo 5 Guardians, there's this moment where Spartan Locke is kind of like knocked over and is knocked out, but at the same time, his HUD is kind of cutting in and out and just shutting off. Does that mean that his visor is actually a TV screen and not an actual transparent thing, meaning he's just getting a direct camera feed? Or is his blinking like getting EMP'd? I don't know how this works. Throughout the Halo universe, we see callbacks to the Marathon franchise all over the place, especially on Forerunner technology, and it kind of turned into a mainline Halo symbol being renamed to the Reclaimer symbol. But that doesn't really explain why we see the Pillar of Autumn also have the Reclaimer symbol all over the place if this is one of the earliest encounters of Forerunner technology. Sure, they discovered a little bit of Forerunner technology on Reach, but would they be putting it on their patches and stuff like that for Pillar of Autumn? It just seems a little odd. Okay, so what's the lore situation with the Halo Combat Evolved level boarding action? Are they just like 2 ships that are just kind of open side by side and there's teleporters connecting them so they could fight, or just how does this work? Is Catherine Halsey's appearance in Halo Legends actually canon? Is the superintendent actually a dumb AI? Or is it a smart AI disguised as a dumb city AI that actually is super intelligent, studying the Forerunner artifact under its city? If it is a dumb AI, we have another question. Why does the engineers specifically pick this AI to merge with? And if it is a quote-unquote dumb AI, does this mean the engineer itself will run into limitations that it otherwise might be able to process past? In Halo 2, Johnson says, "I know what the ladies like," but really, what do the ladies like? Throughout all of Halo, Rookie's full name is very ambiguous, with the most that we've ever had revealed being the initials JD. But what is Rookie's full name, and could JD just be a placeholder for, like, John Doe? In Halo Wars 2, how did the UNSC Spirit of Fire randomly go through a slipspace portal that just happened to send them straight to the Ark? Was this a coincidence, or was something bigger subliminally happening? What happened to the female reporter from the end of Season 1, Hunt the Truth, Petra Janek? She's gonna take over the podcast, and it was looking like that was gonna be the tone for Season 2, and then apparently she got kidnapped by Oni, and we never heard from her again. At the very least, we did get to see what happened to Benjamin in Season 2, but we never heard from Petra again. Why did the Gravemind stop using his giant tentacle arms at the end of the Halo 3 level, The Covenant? I feel like that'd be pretty efficient for stopping Master Chief and the Arbiter. In Halo 3 ODST, when Rookie is nearby some sort of clue, there's a specific sound effect that kind of plays in the background, and while Rookie is the only character mostly to experience this, there is one instance on Oni Alpha Site when in the elevator you hear this same sound effect. What is this sound effect coming from? Why is it here? On some of the Halo 3 multiplayer levels like Sandbox, Sandtrap, or even Snowbound, what are the Guardians actually trying to keep out or in? Also, in Halo 2, when you dual wield SMGs, how do you reload? I feel like there'd be some awkward elbow movement going on with it. Also, what is John 117's last name? Also, what happened with the the Halo spaghetti code, where in the Master Chief Collection, when you take out the 4 reactors, the Carnage report will count these 4 reactors on the Maw as brutes in the scoreboard. There's these weird holograms that may be numbered that show up on Epitaph and also on the Halo 3 multiplayer level Guardian. Do they mean anything? Are they just random symbols thrown on there for aesthetic? In the description on Halo 2's multiplayer level Colossus, it says numerous scientific expeditions have failed to reveal what the Forerunners intended with all this damn gas. So, what did they intend to do with all this damn gas? We see Requiem being a shield world in Halo, which does make us wonder how many shield worlds are there actually in the larger galaxy, and what are their statuses all like? I mean, Requiem's gone now. Also, we know that when it comes to Spartan armor, while Mjolnir is the most popular powered armor program, but there was also Project Hayabusa, which is where that helmet actually comes from. Now, so far, we've only actually seen the Hayabusa helmet, though we have started to see other helmets pop up from other programs like Project Anvil, which does make us wonder, are there other Hayabusa helmets or other helmets from Project Hayabusa that will make their way into a future Halo game? Project Anvil also has a helmet called Demo, which at first glance you would assume would stand for a demolition helmet. But if you read the description, it looks like this helmet actually was used as a test helmet. So does Demo stand for demolition or a literal helmet demo? Another question, why don't warthogs have seatbelts? Just feel like that would be a pretty big safety concern, especially in the future. Why doesn't Master Chief's flashlight last longer than what it does? Also, in the production line of things, why did Bungie make the decision to change up Master Chief's armor between Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2? In Halo Combat Evolved, we see that 343 Guilty Spark has the ability to teleport people like Master Chief. So later, when he's mad at Chief, or even at the end of Halo 3, why doesn't he just teleport Chief to his death at the end? Also, why doesn't Guilty Spark use his laser that he clearly has at the end of Halo 3 on Master Chief in Combat Evolved? Why is it that on the last level of Halo 3, if you load in at the rally point, you spawn in with an assault rifle and a shotgun? Though if you play through the level normally, when you get to the rally point, you lose all your pre-existing weapons and start off with just an assault rifle. Will there ever be a Halo 3 anniversary? What's the status on what 343's thinking with the high demand for some sort of remaster of Halo 3? This one comes from our Discord explicitly, but do elites wear underwear? Question mark. What do these numbers mean on Kikowani Station? Also, how often does Master Chief take a shower? How deep could someone dig into a Halo ring? Can you fall off a Halo ring? What's the lore explanation for Beamish getting a job as a janitor on High Charity? Also, what happened to the Arbiter's family? He had a wife in 2535, as mentioned in Halo the Cole Protocol, so what happened to his family? I guess on that one we could assume the worst. Also, what happened to the planet Sol 9? Sol 7 is the planet where the Halo ring is at, but Sol 9 seemed to have seen better days beforehand. In Halo 2, why didn't the Gravemind just teleport Master Chief and Arbiter into the right rooms instead of making them have to journey their way? On the level Data Hive and ODST, is there a secret area or a separate section of hallways that was once planned? If you look at the map in the in-game HUD, you can see a parallel section of corridors running alongside where you typically travel through. So it does make us wonder if there was maybe at one point more planned. In Halo Reach, we do always wonder, is George really dead? I mean, sure, there was this massive explosion and he was sent into a slipstream, but technically, maybe he could have landed somewhere else. He did take his helmet off though, so it does make us kind of doubt the chances a little bit more. How did the sandworm on the Halo 5 map, The Rig, that is set on Meridian, survive the glassing of the planet? According to the official logs, all life on the moon was killed when the planet was glassed. During the fall of Reach, contact was lost with UNSC forces in the city of Havis. It's not known what happened other than that contact was lost, so what exactly did end up happening to them? They just lost contact in a city. Seems a little odd. After faking his death and being declared dead by Oni, the insurrectionist Staffan Sensky went into hiding. And where is he now? How do Spartans that were taken as young children have different accents all these years later? We know that a lot of regular, standard, ancient human history and even some modern day human history happens in the Halo universe, but to what extent are the 19th and 20th century similar to ours? Did everything happen in the same way? What about some of the more recent wars and conflicts? Are those technically canon? When the Covenant attacked Earth, why did they choose to take out the 3 little space stations that, they were in control of some defense, instead of just going straight after Earth? And then how were they surprised that humans were there if humanity had like a line of defense set up around the planet. One of those things doesn't make sense. Whose skulls do you find whenever you pick up a skull in the campaign? Like, who died and just has their remains there? In I Love Bees, the colony Troy was secretly evacuated before an incoming Covenant attack because the UNSC was able to manage to intercept a transmission. Was this the only planet that ever's been secretly evacuated? Why weren't any of the other planets evacuated along the way? Opticant first appeared in I Love Bees and was prominently featured in Halo 3 ODST and a bit in Reach, but little is known about their actual operations. Where and when were they founded, and are they still relevant now in the Halo Infinite type of timeline? Also, at one point they were apparently investigated by Oni. Why was that a thing? Okay, how does the sniper on the level NMPD HQ fall all the way down across a different sector in New Mombasa and land over where the rookie is? It just seems like a long way for a sniper to travel. I mean, I guess win, but yeah, that's a pretty far way to go. On the Halo 3 map Waterfall, you can see a super button on the keyboards. What does this do? Also, in the year 2552, are we really only on DDR17? Or is that what they use for RAM? Or is this just a completely different type of thing? Also, there's numbers on the computer monitor saying that the machine is getting 200 FPS, whatever that means. Why does the Hornet on the Halo 4 map Skyline just kind of fly around in circles, stop for a minute, and then just fly off again? Also, in the Halo 2 multiplayer level terminal, it says that the Covenant attacked the train system first. So if this was the case and the multiplayer map takes place during the attack, why is this train just still active, cruising by? And also, if it was before the attack on Earth, why is this train just cruising by and not stopping to pick up possible passengers? Okay, we all wonder what's going on in Blood Gulch. Why are there just two bases in a canyon? But also, with Bloodline specifically, the Halo 2 Anniversary remake, why are there UNSC bases set up here? Like, did the UNSC just say, hey, look, let's just set up some bases in this canyon? It just seems a little more obscure when it's the UNSC that did it rather than the Forerunners that have a track record of just putting stuff in random places. Also, what's the purpose of the orbital structure from Halo 3? Like, we know it's a docking station, but the actual interior is just this kind of loop with no real significance of being able to go anywhere or do anything. Also, there's this large monitor on cold storage. It looks kind of like GLaDOS, and it just follows you around if you're looking at it. We still don't know what this means to this day, and we still wonder what exactly it is. How did someone drop a Canadian dollar coin in the snow on the level Snowbound? In Halo 2 on the level Regret, why doesn't the Prophet of Regret just fly away on his chair instead of staying around to fight the Master Chief? Like, he could have just flown out through the ceiling. We know that the prophets can fly that much if you look at the final cutscene in ODST where we see the Prophet of Truth just kind of hover in from up above. So what's this guy's deal? Was Jonesy the cat ever found? Also, in the newest season pass for MCC, the Umber tech suit has a very mysterious color. So what color is it actually? In Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, why are Linda's schematics shown on one of the screens? Okay, now we obviously know the cavemen on Sierra 117 are kind of just a funny Easter egg, but what if it's not an Easter egg? Could this be some sort of imagery foreshadowing the fact that human is on the brink of barbarism? How did the grunt on Delta Halo get a Master Chief toy? Did he buy it on the black market, or are they selling Master Chief action figures out there somewhere? Also, is that grunt committing heresy by playing with a Master Chief toy? Why do the Spartans in Halo Reach breathe so loudly when they run? Also, why are there 13 dead Spartans on Lone Wolf? What was their mission, and how did they all end up dying there? How is time travel possible in the Halo universe? In I Love Bees, we see a limited use of time travel where the AI somehow time travels to 2004 and exists on a website. It's a closed loop, and it actually didn't create any plot holes, fortunately, but it does make us wonder if this could have any implications for the future of the Halo universe. In Halo 3 ODST, why was this random soldier carrying a BR? Was it just to tease Halo fans into thinking that there was a BR hidden somewhere in the streets of Numbasa that we could find? You know, that with the answer to the glyphs and the J signs all in some secret room together. In some Halo 3 material, you can see a UNSC medal that is given to soldiers, marines, and others. But what is this medal actually for? It never really was explained. Why is there a Forerunner ship or artifact buried under Reach? Why hasn't the Spectre come back yet? Can the Gutras in Halo Reach be tamed? I know this one's just kind of out there, but it's just something I actually wondered, and I thought that if we were coming up with over 100 questions to ask, you know, I could squeeze this one in there somewhere and Luke wouldn't get too mad. What is Master Chief's shoe size? Also, what is Master Chief's jean size? Now, interestingly enough, when we were doing our 10 minutes of useless Halo facts video, we were trying to figure out these answers for that video, but we couldn't get the right dimensions for Master Chief just figured out to put into some sort of online calculator that would tell us what Master Chief's jean size would be. So I'm wondering if we'll ever get an official answer on that. Also, what type of jeans would he wear? That one's not counting as an actual question out of the 100, but I am wondering. Luke just yelled booty cut in my ear as I'm recording this. On the Halo 4 level complex, what's this warning sign for? What's the name of the band that the Marines were listening to on the Halo Combat Evolved level Guilty Spark? What's the name of the hotel on the reach map Breakneck? It's just a nice little hotel there. We'd like to know its name so we could give it a good TripAdvisor review. Also on Halo Reach, the tip of the spear, we noticed that if you damage the Falcon a little bit, there's actually no driver inside of the driver's seat, which makes it really interesting how we're just kind of flying around without a driver. But then when the Falcon ends up crashing, boom, the driver's back and his body's there. So where was the driver during all of this? So boom, there we go. We made it to 100 plus questions. Which one is on your mind the most? Which one to this day will drive you insane wondering about that maybe you never even thought twice about beforehand? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Also, make sure you guys check out our Patreon page. We actually have one. There's a link in the description down below. We've been putting our new podcast episodes out on Patreon early to our patrons, and we also are working on getting some really cool exclusive stuff, like links to all of the background music that we make for these videos that you guys can then use for whatever project you want, even your own YouTube videos. So if you want to support this channel and also get a look behind the scenes, it would mean the world to us. You can check out our Patreon in the link down below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.